What's up, YouTube? Welcome to Behind the Wall, presented by Perky Jerky. Well, not exactly. We're looking for sponsorship. Maybe if one of the four people that happen to listen to this podcast, knows anybody at Perky Jerky, give us a ring. Love your shit, and we'd appreciate some money. But hopefully, will be a weekly NASCAR-related podcast, and I am Junior Nation 5788, also known as Tyler. For those of you that don't know my first name, I'm here with my co-host, a few of my painting buddies. They're also league race with me, and they become two of my best friends. And you have Kane, Junior 88, and his real name is Alex, and Thermite 917, Mr. Nick, and this will be a lot of fun doing this with you guys. So why don't you properly introduce yourselves? So those of you that don't know you guys.
What's up, YouTube? As Tyler mentioned, I'm Kane, Junior 88, also known as Alex. I've been a NASCAR fan since 1997. My favorite drivers are Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Chase Elliott. And as you can imagine, the Daytona 500 was pretty disappointing for me, to say the least.
All right, go ahead, Nick.
Hey everyone, I'm Nick, also known as Thermite 917 or 917. I've been a NASCAR fan since 2001, so Kane has me beat by a few years. I like collecting die-cast cars. I have a ton of them all around the house. I've spent way too much money on it, obviously. And when I'm not kicking Middleburg's ass on Uncharted 3, I like to spend my time creating custom paint schemes on the game NASCAR 15. The hobby I've enjoyed doing for about 5 years, and it's just a fun way to stay creative.
All right.
And I would just like to point out, and I would also just like to point out that is how Nick and I first met, was through the paint booth on NASCAR The Game 2011, and on the old NASCAR The Game forums.
Well,
that's actually how we all met.
Kane, yeah, I was gonna say, Kane, you're leaving me out here too. I joined in later. Okay, so.
Sorry about that.
No, don't. It's not a big deal. I guess, that'll leave that as a part of my introduction here, Again, my first name is Tyler, for those that don't know. I don't normally say a lot about myself. I haven't really uploaded a lot either. That's one of the big things that I got into. That's how my small dinky channel grew, was just because of paint schemes and doing all sorts of replicas and whatnot. And that's how we all got introduced to each other. And to be perfectly honest, I can't speak as far as Nick and Alex go, but for me, I didn't know these two guys very well, particularly during the NASCAR The Game forums while it was still up and active. I guess exchanged, whatever, compliments on cars from time to time, but I really got to know these guys when we started league racing together, and we just all of a sudden have just become pretty good friends. We can shoot the shit, mainly about NASCAR stuff whenever we want. So that's why we're doing this. I've been obviously watching NASCAR for a long time too. I can't really say a specific year, but obviously my favorite's pretty obvious as my channel name. I wish that wasn't my channel name, but I don't mind either way. Big Dale Jr. fan, always have been. Also like Chase Elliott as well. And yeah, I just watch a lot of NASCAR. I hang out with my friends as much as I can, talk to them a lot, hang out with a girlfriend. I bowled for a lot of years too, just a lot of random stuff. I also collect a bunch of die-cast cars and watch a lot of movies too. So, but I think that pretty much covers the introduction. So we have a brand new NASCAR season finally here. It seemed like after a really long off season, but I don't know, I guess it kind of went quick too. Maybe depends on who you are, but we just finished up the Daytona 500, and my lord, what Speedweeks was absolute carnage. Wow. And Nick, you got to share the stat that we discovered after the 500 finished with how many people crashed this weekend.
Yeah, so the credit for this goes to one of my friends from Facebook, Nick Thomas, and he posted, and I hope this is true because this is a crazy stat, that 11 drivers in all of Speedweeks, all the three races, Trucks, Xfinity, and Cup, out of or 11 drivers out of 112 survived uh, survived this weekend with no damage. Only 11 of them. That's 9.8% of every car that ran this weekend.
which is
And that's
insane.
just, it's insane.
Yes.
Yeah, it's Speed Weeks. I mean, I guess we kind of, no matter it's Speed Weeks, it's plate racing, it's kind of the way it is. But honestly, I just didn't feel like there was gonna be that much carnage. It just was a very wreck-filled weekend, and it's almost kind of disappointing. You know, like a lot of people got knocked out and for no reason, mainly just over aggression, and that's kind of a big talking point is stages. People are blaming it on stages. People are blaming it on the way the cars drive. They're forgetting the biggest thing. There's people behind the wheel too, and they're making these moves. Jamie fucking McMurray. Yeah, and not naming any names. Yeah, that guy. Whoo, Mick Mac attack. He caused a couple this weekend, but
Like Todd Bodine says, you can't fix stupid.
well, it's funny Todd Bodine says that.
Yeah.
coming from a seasoned veteran like Todd Bodine, you know.
The Onion. Yep.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, just absolute insanity. The Daytona 500, you know, it seemed like it was going decently well for a while. I mean, the first half of the race, how many? I mean, I don't know the official number, but it couldn't have been what? 1, 2 cautions, and not just because of the state. One of them was the stage, right? The end of the stage.
Yeah. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
'cause you had Corey LaJoie almost run
Oh,
over
that's
Clint
right.
Boyer. I don't know if he had no brakes or what, but he slammed the wall. That was
That
first
was
caution, I believe.
hysterical. Oh my God. I laughed my ass off when I watched him fly in there. And I'm just like, Jesus Christ, dude. Like, you were never coming in for a friggin' pit stop. I,
Yeah.
he's
I also know
lucky.
I know somebody else who's probably laughing their ass off too, and that person was Reed Sorensen.
Yeah, Reed Swords, exactly. That was the first thing I said. I'm like, geez. I'm like, yeah, I don't really feel bad for Corey LaJoie in this situation. He kind of, with his cheeky ass little move and the dual races. But, yeah, that was just hysterical. I mean, clearly a rookie error. I doubt he didn't have any brakes. You know, it didn't happen again. And I'm sure, you know, he had some coaching after that shit went down, because that was just something you can't do. He's lucky he didn't take out more than himself in that situation. You know, even Clint Boyer, his audio was fantastic. It was like, what the hell was he doing? Exactly. What the hell was he
Mm-hmm.
doing? Uh, Clearly didn't have his head on straight or whatever. But just that goes into point of the cautions. Like there was, okay, 2 cautions, one legitimate one, and then the end of the stage. And it seemed like a rather, like, okay, this is living up to the expectation of being more mild, which is what we were all hoping for, you know, compared to the previous 2 days of the Xfinity and the trucks, which is nothing but wreckfest. But then lap 105 strolls around, and what do you know? Kyle Busch blows a tire out of nowhere, takes him out, takes himself out, takes Eric Jones out, takes Matt Kenseth out, and Dale Jr., who was technically leading at the time, fucking runs right over him, and ends all of their days right there.
Which is really sad considering Junior had plenty of room to go low to avoid the wreck, but
You know, hey, I was salty about that too, because I'm sitting here going like, what the hell? Like, you just couldn't turn down. Well, the more research you do, and the more you listen to like general facts, I guess, it's obviously pretty damn tough to turn the car in the middle of the corner. You know, like
Yeah,
just
you can't do that.
yeah, you can't, because it skates, because it's so on the splitter, and these guys are always trying to get those cars like so close to the splitter, and that's why they, you know, you always hear about them like bottoming out, and you see the sparks. You know, that was a common theme throughout the weekend too, or all of Speedweeks really. There's big shower of sparks that you sometimes see from a car, and that comes from the splitter. So you know, the initial saltiness, whatever, just kind of wore off, and I was just like, shit. It was a bad situation, and I'm not even defending Kyle Busch in this scenario, but Seriously, it wasn't his fault. It just was a shitty situation. And
Yeah,
I love the blaming of Goodyear and whatnot. I think that's funny. That's just Kyle being Kyle. But uh,
Yep.
yeah,
and
it just was a
it was
bad
a weird
scenario.
situation too, because there were a few guys coming out of pit road, and they were pretty much going every which way down the backstretch, and they weren't even up to full speed yet, and the leaders had to swerve through them,
Yeah.
and that made us think, maybe they misjudged it. Maybe Eric Jones accidentally got into Kyle Busch as they were getting around him, but after the replay showed that Kyle just lost it, and it's just kind of weird. And I also will bring up the question: do you think Kyle will get fined for bashing Goodyear?
I hope not. Because I hate that. I hate when that happens. And I don't give a rat's ass what happens to Kyle Busch. It's just the fact is there shouldn't be no fines for that crap. He didn't get fined when he destroyed the COT in Victory Lane when it was after the first race. But then they kind of NASCAR contradicted themselves, and when Denny Hamlin made comments about the Gen 6 when it came out in 2013, they fined him, and it's just ridiculous. They need to
It
keep
is.
that bullshit out. It's nothing but drama. It doesn't need to be anything. I don't know.
Then
It's
it
it
also goes along with NASCAR updating the penalty system. So if he was going to get penalized for that, he would have already.
yeah. Um yeah, they're just gonna move on from it really. I don't know why it happened. And to be honest, his comments were they were funny, but in the same time it didn't really make a lot of sense either because who else blew
Right.
a tire? Uh, Nobody.
I don't think anyone.
It just was a bad set
Mhm.
of circumstances. He might have run over something and didn't realize it. Uh,
Yeah.
it
It was funny. I saw a quick thing from Goodyear. I didn't watch the whole thing, but like it was the president of or someone for Goodyear, and they're like, "Yeah, the tires will lose air if you hit something."
yeah. So nobody knows. They're not gonna know. It's just whatever. He was salty. He had a right to be salty. He just knocked out at 500, took out two of his teammates. Well, Eric Jones technically being a teammate, and hell even took out the
Yep.
lead of the race, and that's just Dale Jr.'s luck. So, uh,
Yeah.
but right after that, that basically set off the whole chain of motion. And the race complexity completely changed. It was just past halfway. They had the red flag, and here's a nice little note: all three races had red flags, so uh, which is insane. But
Mhm.
again, not surprising with it being Speed Weeks. And then,
And the amount of inexperience in all three fields, you know.
uh, well, mainly the lower series, sure. But
Yeah.
you know what? You didn't really expect it from Cup. You sure as hell shouldn't expect it from a guy like Jamie McMurray. And Jamie McMurray, that's what sets off the big one with him slamming Jimmy in the ass. And it frustrates me so much when I see people saying like, "It's fucking Jimmy Johnson's fault." And no, I'd love to point the finger at Jimmy Johnson too, but it wasn't Jimmy Johnson's fault. You can't, if you're ramming somebody in the ass, you ram them once, they get squirrely. With 60, I think this happened what like 67 to go, something like that.
Something
So
like
Yeah.
that.
uh, you can't just keep railing into a guy who's already loose and unstable. It's gonna cause something, and that's exactly what it did. And then he stuck his nose to the outside for realistically no reason. It was an over aggressive move for the amount of time that was left in the race, and to really no avail. Honestly, it just created a
Well,
wreck. It
that
made everybody four wide, and then the wreck.
yeah, yeah. I mean that's and I think he just went to the outside because he shoved Jimmy to the bottom. Like that's just kind of how the chain reaction went.
Yeah,
Because at first I was like, okay, why is Jimmy pulling down and making it four wide and stuff? But on the replay you could tell Jamie gave him a bump in the wrong spot, and it just turned him down there. And then obviously Trevor Van had nowhere to go. So
yeah.
that's the first of two that Jamie caused.
Yep.
Yeah. Obviously Jimmy got absolutely destroyed in that one. Couple others I can't really remember. Jimmy's car was just so mangled. That was like the focal point of that wreck. Like he really got it. Uh,
Yeah.
and then the next one basically happened right after a restart. Uh, You guys got to remind me because did Jamie like just come down on somebody or what?
So, all right, down to the actual on the lap of the restart, so we're not even up to speed yet.
Okay.
Jamie comes up behind Chase Elliott out of turn 2. They're on the straightaway, and he pretty much turns Chase Elliott sideways by giving him a bump too hard or in the wrong spot or whatever.
Yeah.
And as Chase is sliding, everyone kind of starts checking up, and Jamie gets hit, and he's the first one into the wall. And then it's on from there.
There we go.
And that's where Joey Logano got some damage too when when Jamie turned Chase Elliott into Logano a little bit.
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
But Chase and Logano obviously survived that, but a few others did not.
Yeah, I didn't even
Because
see
it looked
any damage on Logano's car. I didn't see any.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. I'm surprised Logano even had damage.
Yeah, like it couldn't have been hardly anything.
Yeah,
I mean, Chase got
I didn't
more.
really notice anything either. I'd have to check the replay again, but if he did get damage, that's probably where he got it.
Right.
Mhm.
I don't even remember the wreck that Kurt Busch was in, honestly.
He was in the big one that where Jamie turned Jimmy around.
Oh, okay. So he was
Because
in that one.
Actually, all 4 Stewart Haas racing cars were caught up in that wreck.
That's right. I remember you said that.
Yep.
That's right. Yep, and only Harvick and Kurt kept on, and Boyer and Danica were out of the race after that one.
Exactly.
Yeah. So those 2 wrecks happened, and then I don't remember what specific lap. Then all of a sudden, Elliott Sadler and Ryan Blaney check up, and next thing you know, you got 2 Roush Fenway cars darting towards the damn wall, and it basically that ended both of their days, and right,
Yes,
and then no, Sadler kept going. He ended up finishing the race, but that was just a weird scenario too. And you saw it all race long with people like having these weird times to pit. You know, the Toyota cars had it all planned out. Of course they did. Sneaky, cheeky little bastards. But
yeah, them damn Toyotas were cheating again.
Damn Toyotas. But yeah, that was a cluster.
Created some interesting strategy, but yeah, when Blaney was coming to pit road, I mean, he warned everyone down the backstretch. Even Sadler waved because he saw it, but I guess he just didn't expect Blaney to slow down at that point on the track or whatever, and he had nowhere to go.
I guess not. You know, I don't know if there was just a miscommunication on the spotter stand or whatever. Obviously, they saw him wave, but just it happened so fast and it caused a wreck. And speaking of things that could have caused a wreck, I can't go without talking about this. The blend thing. We all said it in the chat in our Facebook group chat. I didn't like it at all. There was a couple of times where the Furniture Row cars, Eric Jones did it first, then Martin Truex Jr. did it. They were blending like onto the racetrack into turn 1, and you know you got the whole field of guys lined up. You know they're 2x2, maybe even 3 wide sometimes in the pack, and they're roaring by in the turn 1, and you got one guy that's going, I mean, what, maybe 100 mile an hour coming off a pit road, maybe 120, whatever, still significantly less than the rest of the field that's literally roaring by them. And the first time when Jones did it, I'm like, holy shit, he's gonna LePage. Like, I was freaking out. I'm like, dude, you can't do that. Like, what the, like, that was gonna cause some serious shit. And
then it was determined you can do that, but I mean, I don't know why.
I don't know why either. And I was looking for explanations, and I saw, and then Jeff Burton said it on Twitter. They're like, oh, you can put your left side tires on the yellow line in turn 1, and then you blend on the backstretch. Okay, well, I guess they're just lucky that it didn't cause a huge crash, but the moment it does, then they need to really revisit that rule, because they're not going to now, you know, because nothing became of it. But still,
like they're all about safety, and yet in a narrow super speedway, they're letting cars just go right to the track.
Yeah,
I guess they haven't learned from Kevin LePage.
Yeah, it's sketchy.
I don't know when they changed that, because I remember a few years back when Michael Waltrip had to ride around on the apron in the duel, and that's where he wrecked because he came onto the track too soon.
Yeah.
But I know they were making people go all the way around the apron then. So, and that was 2011 or something, 2012.
Yeah.
So it's weird.
It absolutely is.
And in fact, I want to say that was the only like Daytona 500 that Waltrip missed. I think
Yeah, that
because
was
he's
the
made
one.
it like every other.
Mm.
Yeah,
He was in the
he's made it
40.
like every other year.
Yeah,
hmm
yeah,
Because Mark Martin was in the 55 car for that race.
yeah. So
So
it was 2012, but
yeah.
yeah, just a very very sketchy rule, and it makes everybody like everybody has to shift. You know, like if you got the field guys are lined up on the bottom line and on in the middle line or whatever, and even on the outside at times, they all have to shift up. You know, to avoid this car that's there. I you know
Yeah, if you're three
it's
wide
gonna
going
cause
past there, you got no chance pretty much.
yeah.
Nope.
You know,
You just can't
and you
see him coming up that fast.
yeah, you see what happens when these cars start to move around and have a little bit of jostling. It causes crashes. So they're lucky they didn't come into anything big. But and that was the last caution of the race. That the one with Stenhouse and Bain.
I don't think so.
Are you sure?
I want no, because I remember like very late in the race, Joey Gase and Brendan Gaughan
That's
wrecked on the
right.
back straightaway.
Oh
That was
yeah.
that was a quick caution, but I think that happened right afterwards though. That happened right
Yep.
after that, and that was the last one of the race. That because that was a real quick caution, because that kind of set up the whatever 40 some. It had to be a pretty long green flag run because people started running out of fuel. So
hmm
yeah, so I think that was the last caution of the race, and then you know they kept it together after that. Surprisingly,
Yep.
I guess they just finally decided they didn't want to wreck no more. So
Nope.
Yeah, about 30 to go. They started forming up into their single file train on the top,
yeah.
and they all just waited.
Yeah,
Yep.
the Chase Elliott maneuvered his way, you know, through the pack. You know, there was some pretty good moves going on there. They finally seemed like they were starting to really knuckle down and actually race. And then then they all got in that single file line and stuck there and until basically the last 5 laps of the race. And that's when I mean, I guess you could call it crazy. It was, I mean, it kind of was because there was how many lead changes right there. All of a sudden, a lot of things happen at once. Next thing you know,
Yeah.
it looks like Chase Elliott kind of blows it, uh, but they had some fuel problems, as a bunch of the people did, and the car just stumbled just a little bit, and they have like a they were saying at the end of the race they were talking about the fuel tank and they have like a fuel reservoir or whatever, so they had just a little bit more in case they need it. That seems kind of cheeky to me, honestly, but I guess that's the way it is with the new well, I shouldn't say new, it's kind of standard now with all the ECU
Yep.
and everything they got going on there, uh, but
Plus the fuel reservoir apparently is what helped Kurt Busch win the 500
yeah,
because that's what Tony Gibson told him hit the switch
with
and
one to go
look
because
what
they were gonna
happened.
be they were
Yep.
gonna be short, and
Yep.
it was smart as hell. And I don't know if nobody else knew that, but uh, you know they did it to perfection. But before you even get to that, it was you know Martin Truex got the lead. Then it was like, oh my God, now Martin Truex might get redemption. And then Kyle Larson comes out of nowhere, and you know he gets the lead after it looks like Truex stumbles, and then yeah, he got the lead from Kurt Busch after a really great pass to pass him to get the second, and then gets the lead.
hmm
And then his car stumbles on the last lap, and Kurt Busch goes by him, and that's it. I mean,
Yeah.
it I thought it was going to be a lot closer than it actually was, and they just got out there too far, or Kurt got out there too far, and Blaney looked like he had a hell of a run in the backstretch and just backed off.
Yeah, he did. It was the same situation as the clash with Alex Bowman and Kyle Busch. Blaney thought he couldn't really get around him down the backstretch, so he tried to lay back to Allmendinger, but Allmendinger was too far back, and they could never make anything out of it. But I mean, like we were talking about before, like there's no real plan at the end. You just gotta, go with your gut, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, that's absolutely the way it
hmm
is. It's almost like a panic, you know, it's a panic, and you just hope it works out. And for Blaney's case, it didn't work out. So
Yeah, but still a good run.
yeah, still a great run. A
He
lot
did.
of people with great finishes. Obviously Kurt Busch. That was an epic race version. I don't even collect Kurt Busch, but if I was gonna get a car, a random diecast, it would have to be that one. Oh my God. It just looks like it's been through hell. It looks like it's been through a damn Martinsville race, not a Daytona 500. And
Yeah. Yeah. You think Lionel's gonna put the piece of turf on the hood?
If they
honestly, I
don't, I'm
hope they
going
do.
out into my front yard and I'm gonna get some grass.
Yeah, just get a big old chunk and throw it right on your
Yeah.
car.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's what I want to do. Uh, yeah, I probably should just do that. I've already got a beautiful dent on the left side door, so it'll go perfectly with it. You know, if I can go out and find Austin Cindric again and smash him, and on the right side, I think I can get close to a Kurt Busch car. So
Yep.
believe
Yeah.
me, that's a story that's gonna have to be told
Yeah.
here at one point. Uh,
Hopefully Austin watches this show.
Yeah.
yeah. Dude, I'm telling you, if he wins a race one of these times, I'm seriously gonna have to tweet out or Instagram the story and just break it. I mean, I embrace the dumbassness of what happened that day, but for some good people, Matt DiBenedetto finishing top 10, Michael Waltrip in his last Daytona 500. I love that. He was one of the very
Yes.
few that survived without damage. Just ran a clean
He was
race,
ac- he was actually the highest finishing Toyota too, which
which
is
is
really
sad.
surprising. Yeah.
It's sad. Um, you know, he just he wasn't a factor, and that sucks. That his car was kind of underpowered and whatever, but he ran clean. He stayed out of the mess, and that's kind of what you have to do in these situations. It's all about survival. It's the same thing with Brendan Gaughan. Brendan Gaughan, he went through hell too. He was in the last caution, came back, finished 11th, almost snagged a top 10 out of the damn thing, and his bucket of bolts. I don't even know who owns that car. Uh,
Some guy named Mark Beard, I believe, is the owner.
oh, so
Beard Motorsports.
they put his
Yeah.
sponsor on the car, Beard Oil. I knew that. I just didn't know who owned it because it looks like just an
Yeah.
absolute pile of bolts. But
I mean,
whatever
it
works.
looks like a start and park car, you know.
It absolutely does. But they snagged a good finish out of it. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, they all had pretty good runs. The feel good story with Mikey, and getting a top 10 in his last 500, and everybody felt good for Tony Gibson, which you should. I mean, look how he reacted on the box. That was pretty
I
pretty
know.
good, pretty cool, and you expect it from a guy like that.
And if you guys
Tony
follow NASCAR Chasm on Twitter, the guy's also kind of a badass too.
Yeah,
Because
yeah, he is.
he likes to joke. He had to have his gallbladder removed. He's like, hell, I'm gonna remove my gallbladder myself with my bare hands and be back in the shop the next day.
No, be back in the shop by the afternoon. So that's how much of a
Yeah.
badass he thinks Gibson is, and
Yep.
yeah, yeah, I think everybody's happy for him. Junior said about Gibson used to be a guy that worked on the 8 car back in the day too.
Well,
So
there are actually. He said there's actually quite a few guys on the 41 team that used to be on the old Budweiser number 8 DEI
Yeah.
car back in '04. So this would be their second time in Daytona 500 victory lane, which good for them.
yeah, and Gibson getting his first, as a official crew chief.
Yeah.
And another talking point was about Stewart got a 500 too, even though it was as an owner. But yeah, what would you guys rate this race overall? I don't care what sort of scale you use, but what did you think of it? What did you think, Alex?
Well, using Jeff Gluck, the Jeff Gluck method, was it a good race? Yes or no? And I would say it was definitely a 75% good race and maybe 25% bad. Overall, I mean, obviously the wrecks were absolutely unnecessary, but the racing itself was awesome. I really enjoyed watching it. I mean, it's the Daytona 500. It's a must-see event every year. And just to see, the emotion of, Kurt Busch and Tony Gibson, everybody on the 41 team when they won, and obviously the heartbreak of, Dale Jr., Kyle Busch, and especially Chase Elliott. After it looked like he was going to win, but then he, just left the track without giving an interview. I mean, obviously, we all know how hard Chase is on himself. But it's
I don't want to.
definitely, yeah.
I don't want to interrupt you there, but I'm glad you said something about Chase leaving the track. There was a misconception there because the same thing happened with Truex, and this has to be said because a lot of people are like, "Yeah, fucking, Truex and Chase Elliott crybabies." Shut up. Apparently, and they set the record straight on Twitter. Fox, which by the way, they're a bunch of damn liars about their little commercial-free ending to the last 40 laps too. Yeah, okay. They lied about the interviews too. They apparently were interviewing just a certain section of pit road. They never even approached Chase Elliott or Martin Truex. So they both left. Like they were waiting and they never asked for an interview. So they didn't decline an interview. I'd like to just make that official.
Yeah, it's good you cleared that up.
So yeah, anything else to add about the 500, what you thought there, Alex?
I think I pretty much summed it up. Although I would just like to point out, for those of you who don't know, Sloppy Yellow, he's the guy on Dirty Mo Radio that, the guy down in Texas that everybody loves. We blame him for every time he goes to a race and Junior, something happens to Junior. We always blame him because he's supposedly a curse, and he's now what 0 for 80 at races that he's been to that Junior's been in. So yeah, so for Junior Nation looking to blame somebody, blame him. Just gonna put that out there.
I'm glad we found the cause of that. I'm glad we found a reason why Junior had to be in that.
Yeah, I was wondering.
Oh, Nick, what did you think?
Oh man, okay. I think all across the board for all 3 races this weekend, the racing was great. There were plenty of wild moments, plenty of close calls. The only problem, obviously, were all the wrecks. I mean, it just kind of hurt the flow. It sucked to see, your favorite guy get taken out. But I mean, the racing was fine. I mean, you had the new downforce for Xfinity. That didn't really work out, but, they were really racing hard. Trucks, you had all the young guys racing it out, and, Cup had, its good moments and stuff too. So, I mean, I like using numbers. I'd give, the weekend maybe like a 7 out of 10. It wasn't perfect, but, I think especially for Monster Energy's first race as the sponsor, I think it was a success.
All right, good. I'm not gonna say. I'm not even gonna repeat everything that you guys just said. I agree with everything you said. I'm going to say just a couple of different things. I think the 500, I believe that it was better than last year's in terms of competitiveness and, not being dominated. I didn't like last year's 500 for the sole reason of, it's just like nobody could make a move. Nobody could go anywhere. This year it was a little bit different. And I think it was in part of the strategy, the stages. It really did. I'm not like, pro stages, like, woo, all about fucking stages. No way. Not there yet. But I think it did bring a new element. It shifted up the strategy. It swapped the field. Like, there was a bunch of different people in the lead. For Christ's sake, Cole Witt was in the damn lead at one point. It made things more, a little bit interesting. That part of it was, and who even ended up leading the most laps? Was it Chase Elliott with 39? That's the most.
It might have been Kevin Harvick too. Actually, I'm not sure. I know he led a bunch of laps in segment 2. So it could have been him.
It could have been, but I don't think anybody led more than 50 laps. So
plus,
I hope I'm not wrong.
They don't get. Well, plus they also don't. They no longer give bonus points for leading a lap or leading the most laps either. So
True.
they don't really. So Fox really doesn't, pronounce those stats anymore. Yeah, like you said, it's irrelevant. So
yeah. I thought that was good.
Like from this. Go ahead.
Oh, I thought that was good. And the only other thing I want to say about the 500 is, I think the thing that hurts it the most was how they just kind of chilled at the end, and I don't think a lot of people like to see that. I think they like to see more aggression. I certainly do, uh, because you would expect it. I didn't expect them to be so damn aggressive with 80 to go. I wanted them to be aggressive with 20 to go, and they just kind of chilled and they rode around, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The ending still managed to be interesting with what happened, but as far as a racing perspective, they just chilled, and
Yeah.
I think that's what hurts it. I think the
Yeah.
I
ending
mean,
was better last year, so which then again, how
Right.
the hell are you gonna beat that? I mean, it was closest finish in 500 history, but
Yeah.
go ahead, Nick. You can
And
say whatever you want to
it's
say.
just one of those, just how plate racing goes sometimes. That you don't know why they get in a line sometimes and why they don't. But anyway, what I was going to say was something else I liked from this whole weekend was the emotion from every winner. I mean, you have Kaz Grala getting his first ever uh, truck win. You had Ryan Reed getting his second ever win, and it's also at Daytona, just like his first one. And then Kurt getting his first 500 win. No matter who you pull for, it's good to see, those fresh victory lane interviews with everyone just being so happy, and just good to see.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that, you know, it's not guys you see. I mean, you literally just said it. N- People don't know who the hell Casgrala is. I mean, I I hardly knew who he was. I mean, I met him at the NASCAR Hall of Fame, and like it just was like it seemed so random. Like, oh, I made a joke like, yeah, I'm here for the Casgrala autograph signing. Like, who the hell's Casgrala? But
well,
more people know. Uh,
oh, they should. They should. I mean, the guy gave the best post-race interview ever. I don't know if you've seen that yet, but that was the one of the
I
best
re
interviews of
I
all time.
rewatched it. I rewatched it and I listened to it. I'm like, yeah, that was pretty good. He was genuinely excited, and
Hmm.
it was good for Ryan Reed too. And Kurt Busch only won one race last year. He's overcome a lot of
Yeah.
shit too. So I don't have a problem with anybody who won this weekend. So
I mean, plus it's those moments, during the race that really make you appreciate it more. Like obviously Kaz Grala's interview, or it could be Adam Alexander, saying Ryan Reed. His voice cracks when he says his name as he crosses the line. Or of course,
Adam Alexander, he's a freaking fruitcake.
yeah. Or of course, and then of course you got Jeff Gordon yelling, "Yeah, wow, look at this!"
Oh my
I
God.
mean, it's yeah. I mean, I would have loved if he had said that more, but the field chose to ride around a single file line. I mean, I would rather Jeff be yelling that like every lap.
Yeah. But I mean, overall, it was a solid weekend. I don't think that there's a lot to really be disappointed about, even though, yeah, Rex, this and that. I just, if you move past that and you're just like, you look at who won, you look at how the racing went and everything like that, you can feel decently satisfied. You still know that there's obviously, I think some changes have to be made, specifically with just how aggressive people are. It's mainly just a personal decision, like damn McMurray, but you know, it was solid.
Yep.
But we're just gonna move on from it, and hopefully, the next time plate tracks come around, it'll be a little bit cleaner. All right, well, I think we're gonna move on to that segment. That random, stupid segment that literally means nothing. Where did Cody Coughlin finish? That big freaking meatball. Where did he finish? He finished in 11th. I'm so proud of him. You know, he
Oh
got
my
wrecked.
God.
He got involved in a wreck and got crashed at the end too, and still managed to come home with a current career best of 11th. Great job, big fucking meatball.
Jags,
Jegs.
Jegs. Yep. Yeah. That's gonna be a stupid theme for no reason at all, other than we don't like the reason he got his ride. But we're gonna pick on him all year long, so it's gonna be fun. Um,
yeah.
yeah,
And
that's
this has
all it
been
is.
Where did Cody Coughlin finish?
Yeah,
Hmm.
exactly. As simple as that. And moving on to some weekend awards. It's gonna be another fun thing to do because of the stupid names we give things at times, and we're serious and we're kind of trying to be cute with it too. Uh,
Hmm.
So go ahead. First award of the weekend goes to Corey LaJoy, Mr. Cheap Trick, for his little funny maneuver he pulled on landing Castle. I really just said landing Castle. Yeah, he pulled it
Yes,
on
you
Reed
did.
Sorensen. He pulled it on Reed Sorensen. For no reason in a duel, he decided to stick his nose where you could fit about a third of a car. I don't know where he was going on that one, and it was just a cheap fucking move. So congratulations, Corey LaJoy. You're a dumbass for that one.
It was a sign of what was to come in the 500.
Exactly. He got what he deserved. So you can't really justify that maneuver. So Cheap Trick, congratulations. Next award, please.
All right, next award is called Airtime, Hang Time, whatever you want to call it. Matt Crafton went flying at the end of the truck race. It pretty much wiped out whoever was left. Ben Rhodes got turned by Grant Enfinger, who was pushing too hard on the last lap, and Crafton went up and over after getting hit by Regan Smith. Luckily, everyone was okay, and somehow Kaz Grotla snuck through it and won.
It's almost like the Red Seas opened up for him, you know?
They did.
Exactly.
Yep.
All right, next award.
So moving on to the 500, our next award is called McWeapon, and I bet you don't know who that's for.
Yeah.
We've already talked about him. Jamie McMurray, there's not much else to say. He caused 2 big ones. He was racing really hard.
All
I have no
weekend.
problem with him, just for the record.
Yeah.
Just if restricted plate tracks is a different story for whatever reason.
Yeah. And it wasn't just the 500 either. He was the same way during the Clash, too.
All speed weeks
Yeah.
long, really, honestly. So that's
Yep.
what it's just a general overall award, Mr. McWeapon, and that's gonna be a great term to use, throughout the year, even when it doesn't apply at all. Why not? He did it to himself. So,
Yeah.
all right, next award. Hooray! You did it. That goes to
Cue the door
Casey
music.
Kane. He finally led some laps. He went all of 2016 without leading a damn lap. One solitary lap. That means under caution, under pit cycles, under green. In all 36 races, Casey Kane led 0 laps. But he led some laps on Sunday. So he broke his curse, and he did it. And I couldn't be more proud. Damn it, I said I wasn't going to get emotional about this. He led some laps. He did it.
I'm so happy for him.
I am
Round
so
of
happy
applause.
for him too. That's just got to be one of the biggest moments of his career. He running a career high first, and hopefully he gets his first win sometime soon.
Yeah.
Alrighty, next award.
Next award, we are paying homage to one of the most beloved NASCAR TV icons of all time, Mr. Excitement, Mr. Jimmy Spencer. Ye all remember when he was on NASCAR Race Hub, he had his own segment called Jimmy's Take, where he would give out random awards just like we're doing right now. Well, one of those awards was the Cigar Award. And for the first Cigar Award of 2017, we would like to present it to Mr. Brad Keselowski. As you guys saw in the Clash a couple of weeks, well, actually it was a week ago, but Brad made some pretty bold moves there at the end of the race. He broke up the Toyota Armada there at the end, and Denny Hamlin didn't see him coming until it was too late, and he took out Denny Hamlin, but he was the only one who was not afraid to make a bold move to try to win the race. So Cigar Award for Brad. And also another Cigar Award for his quasi-teammate, Ryan Blaney. At the final lap of the Daytona 500 yesterday, we saw Blaney make a bold move to get around Kyle Larson and try to get the lead away from Kurt Busch, but unfortunately it was too little too late. But still, a solid second-place run for Ryan Blaney, his best career finish. So way to go, Mr. Blaney. And no, I'm not talking about Dave. I know it sounds crazy, but it's true. Ryan Blaney is better than his pop.
Oh my God, you channeled your fucking inner commentator right there. Holy hell.
Yeah.
That was good. It's just going to get better from here.
Oh, you know
Yeah.
it. And that, coming off of that precious award, done by Jimmy Spencer, leads into another one. Kane started us off, or Yeah, Kane, you do
Well,
this.
as we all know, in addition to the cigar award, Jimmy Spencer also gave out another famous award. It is, that's right, the crying towel. And this week the crying towel goes to Rowdy Bush. I mean, just listen to what he said during the clash.
I just don't understand how people can be so stupid. If you push me to go catch the dumb son of a you have a shot to win. If you pass me, you eliminate your entire shot to win. You can't be that stupid.
Kyle, it's a 9-point race. You can't be this upset over a move that Alex Bowman has made. I mean, Alex Bowman is so mean for actually racing. How awful! Oh, somebody get a towel and a blankie for Rowdy! And that's not the only one. Just listen to Joey Logano at 10 points during the Daytona 500!
That 24 needs to calm down. He's hit everything with a snack bar today.
Oh, Joey. Chase Elliott made an aggressive pass on you. How dare he? You son of a bitch. And tabloid. Your comments about Chase Elliott hitting everything but the snack bar. Oh, you would know because you're there getting yourself a Snickers now, you meatball sub. Tab. Oh, Tab Boyd, you guys are just salty because you couldn't win another Daytona 500. Try again next year, you bunch of crybabies. Oh, that was. Oh my God.
You okay?
I think I'm okay. I got pretty emotional there, you know. I was just trying to, really get into the feeling, because they were pretty. They were a bunch of crybabies. Oh, Tab Boyd. Awesome. Well, that was fun. Kane spot on. I think you're better at it than I am. I'm willing to admit that. But I love doing the crying cow as well, making fun of people.
You did good too. I'll have to do it next time.
That's right. We're all taking turns on this, so Thermite, you're gonna have to brush up on your crying towel.
Yes.
Got it.
Oh, Kevin Harvick, you're still pissed off about your pit crew. I don't know. I'm just just maybe that happens next week. You never know. So that was fun to do these awards, and they're gonna continue all season long. I promise you, and it's gonna get better than that. So, all right. Moving on. Now we're gonna talk about some paint schemes. Talk about our favorite ones. Simple as that, for the 500 for the Speedweeks specifically. I'll go first and just get mine right out of the way. I like Junior's car. I just the way it looked on track. I mean, I'm not like a huge fan of the paint scheme, and I haven't been, but compared to its, the original pictures and renders and stuff like that, it just. Nick, what did you think? Who was your favorite? Who had the best paint scheme in your mind out there?
There were so many great ones to choose from, but I'm going to go with Michael Waltrip's Aaron's paint scheme. It's a great tribute for his career. It has various pictures from broadcasting to his Daytona 500 wins to when he helped Dale Jr. win the Pepsi 400 in 2001. It's a nice looking car. It's kind of it kind of has the same colors as what Brian Vickers and Mark Martin have had. It's got yellow numbers, which is kind of an odd choice, but it looks pretty cool. And the number font, and I think Kane, you said this before, that it's the same font that Clint Boyer ran on his Darlington throwback last year. But I mean, it works. It's a nice looking car, and even better that it finished 8th in his 30th and final Daytona 500. It was also his best finish in the race since 2009, I think I heard. So It was a great drive for him, and he brought the scheme home in one piece.
Yep,
So,
it was a
Kane,
good
who
one.
do you have?
Well, there was, like Nick said, there were so many cool paint schemes to choose from, but I am going to go with the 78 of Martin Truex Jr. I have always loved Bass Pro paint schemes, whether they're, Martin Truex, Tony Stewart, Austin Dillon, Ty Dillon, or Jamie McMurray. But I just like how, the black and orange color combination along with the outdoor camo. I mean, last year's paint scheme, there was a little bit too much orange or too much black, but then, this year's scheme really evened all that out. So I really feel, I mean, it's just an even like amount of all three colors on the car, and it actually works pretty well on the new Toyota Camry body that was introduced this year. So I have to go with Martin Truex.
I can't say it any better than that. You covered all the points, so that was a
Yep.
very good cooking car. But now it's time to talk about the worst paint scheme of the week. And I don't care that this car didn't make the 500. We all agreed, and nobody should disagree. But the absolute worst looking car out there was Timmy Hill's number 51 Spoonful of Life Music Foundation. Oh my God. Was this a travesty? It doesn't look
bad.
like much. It's just bad. There's not much of a paint scheme to it. It looks like ass. It looks exactly like it runs. Like shit. It looks like a bucket of bolts. It looks like it should be parked after 3 laps because there's no crew members. It's that bad.
Yeah, it's like the designer woke up one morning. He's like, "Oh shoot, this is due in a couple hours." Okay, racing stripes. Let's find that. NASCAR 2004 numbers. Let's throw that on there.
Yeah. And then they're like, "Oh well, we need to put some other sponsors on the car. What do we got in the shop?" And next thing you know, Bubba's
Bubba
like,
Burger.
"Yeah, Bubba's like, Bubba, get us some damn stickers." Will Bubba Burger work? Hell yeah!
Full of Bubba.
Yeah.
That's exact.
And
I'm
then-
sure that's how the conversation went down.
Yeah. And then also, oh, wait a minute, we don't have a front grill piece. Let's just put the racing stripes there, too.
Because, we want to look like a K&N car, because K&N cars are badass. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know where their
Tyler, what
logic
does the
was.
spoon look like?
Oh, my favorite part. And by my favorite part, it's the worst thing of all time. Looking at the sponsor logo. Granted, this has really nothing to do with the paint scheme. It's just the sponsor logo. The spoon looks like fucking George Washington in spoon form. It is scary. You put a mouth on that damn thing, and next thing you know, you got fucking nightmares
Yeah.
for life. That's all I'm saying.
Yep.
Oh
Just like
my
Kevin
God.
Harvick staring at Dave Blaney's rear bumper at Talladega.
Oh, good one. Good reference. Kids eating free. Well, at least that's kids eating free. If kids saw this, they would piss their beds.
Yeah.
Awful paint scheme. And I do not shed a tear that Timmy Hill missed a 500. Yeah, no. So,
There
yeah,
you have it.
that covers it. Simple as that. So there are the paint schemes. Also another thing. Hopefully we can do every week. And yeah, if Timmy Hill continues to show up with shit-looking paint schemes like that, we'll have a worst. It'll be so easy to pick the worst all year long. So hopefully they keep up their good bad work. And the last segment we got here, Atlanta. It's the next race on the calendar. So what are we looking at, Nick? What do you think? What type of race you think you're going to see, or we hope that you see?
Yeah, I think it should be one of the most wild Atlanta races we've seen in a while. They're rolling out the new lower downforce package. You have that in combination with the segment racing, and I think people are going to be sliding around. They're going to be racing hard. And it's also the last Atlanta race until it gets repaved. So, hopefully they can go out in style.
Sounds good. What do you think, Alex?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna side with Nick on this one. I mean, it's gonna be a bittersweet time. I mean, obviously Atlanta really needs this repave because the pavement, I think it's starting to come up in some places. But I mean, the racing is just so good on the old pavement. It really sucks that it's going away. But at the same time, it is necessary that it needs to get redone. So I honestly think a lot of guys are going to enjoy it. It's going to be hard to pick a winner here. I mean, but it's always going to be a really fun race, and hopefully we hear Larry Mack saying it's going to be one of them classic Atlanta finishes, Daryl. Even though he's not in the booth anymore. Yep.
Alex, you're taking everything that I had to say. Damn you. That's the problem with going last here. That's the problem with going last with two people that you know what they're gonna say, and you share very similar feelings with them. God damn it! I don't have I don't have a thing to add really that isn't different than what these guys just said, because I'm it's gonna be hopefully just a good race, slip and slide and whatever. I agree, it needs a repave, but at the same time, they've had some pretty good racing on it, but hopefully we see same thing. I guarantee that there's going to be a lot of trips to the Goodyear store, and they're going to eat up a lot of shit. They're definitely not going to tear up as much shit as they did at Daytona, but we'll see what happens. As far as a winner, I can't pick shit, man. I don't know who's going to win. I don't think
if I had to pick, I'd go with Kevin Harvick.
Yeah, that's not a bad choice. That's not a bad choice. I don't think Kurt Busch wins, so I think we'll have a new winner. I'll just go with that. I'll go with that cheap and easy response of picking a winner because I really don't know. Yeah. Well, we'll see. I mean, this is really the first weekend. We're gonna see what these teams have. I mean, it seems predictable. You think you know who's gonna be hot coming in, but you don't know. Just Hendrick had their ups and downs last year. We'll see if they bring their A game. Who knows how fast the Fords are gonna be on a non-plate track. Specifically Stewart Haas, and see how their transition is onto a more normal track. So who knows? Hope for a good one. And that's been it. This covers the very first recording of Behind the Wall. Well, technically, it's not the first recording. While we're on the topic, we actually had a whole recording that unfortunately got ruined. Thanks, Kane. And but we've got it out of the way now.
Hell, this one nearly got ruined too.
Yeah, it just about did. So.
Well,
Nice
because
job.
my brother walked in because the rest of my family is currently asleep right now as we're recording this.
Good job.
Yeah. And I guess I got a little bit too loud during the crying
They
towel
probably
segment.
weren't sleeping during the crying towel.
Yeah.
Yeah, way to go, Alex. Fucking ruining everybody's dreams and making nightmares. You should just
like
go
a
up.
spoonful of whatever.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say. Damn it, Nick. You should just go get up really close to him and just show him a picture of the spoon, and just put it right in their face and be like, "What the fuck is that?"
like Kyle Petty at Sonoma.
Yeah. Oh my God. That's it. I'm inserting the clip. It's happening.
I mean, Kyle had no clue that Kansas was down on the inside.
What the fuck was that?
So, all right. That was if you somehow still managed to be here, if you are one of the very few people that will probably ever listen to this, thank you, and Mazel Tov. This has been Behind the Wall. You've been behind the wall. Yes, I did just say that.
You've been behind the wall.
You've been behind the wall.
Holla.
Oh my God, don't do that. That's your one and only warning. Never do that again. you and Brett Griffin. Go spot some more.
Yeah. Brett Griffin, spotter for Clint Boyer and Elliott Sadler.
Oh God. All right. We're going to get going before this goes on for another 20 minutes. So thank you. And goodbye. See you next time.